All right. Good morning, everyone. I know it took a long time to get started here, but thanks for being patient with us. My name is Rohit. I run the security ecosystem of partners at AWS, and Pat McDowell is our solutions architect for security. Thanks, everyone, for coming. The focus of the presentation, I just wanted to make sure, because a couple of people asked me about this, is very much around how our partners are using AWS to do AI and machine learning on security data. So this is much more about partnering with AWS, working with AWS technologies, and the programs we offer to our partner community, both consulting and ISV partners, and then some examples of companies that have done successfully some very good work with us, and we'll profile that in the presentation. So this is much more in the business track, not so much in very technical details around security and machine learning applied to security. So just wanted to make sure I start with that. So if you're expecting something different, you now know what the focus of the presentation is. Pat, thank you. Pat's going to join us in a few minutes. We'll get started. So let's talk about why we are even here. What is the opportunity for our partner community? What we are finding is that obviously security is an important area for a lot of companies, and it's a big problem. 70% of industry professionals believe that threat intelligence is often too voluminous or complex to really do something with it. This is true for whether you're operating your own SOC, somebody else is doing it for you. There's just more data than you can handle that can be really processed by anyone. And then the volume of attacks is going up tremendously. If you look at the industry data, companies are being attacked all the time. 62% weekly, and then some hourly. It just simply does not end. There is so much activity because you know what? It doesn't cost them nearly as much to attack, and it also they're sitting behind some area that you cannot even get to. So there's no penalty. They can just keep doing what they're doing, right? And most people think they're not able to keep up. I don't know how many of you in the audience think that you got this problem nailed. Yeah, she puts her hands up, yeah.
How many have this problem?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Only one person thinks they got it nailed. Everybody else thinks they have a problem. No, I'm going to pick on you the rest of the time. No, it's a big problem, and you know what? Nobody's got it nailed. Even the 27%, I think, simply just don't know what's actually happening. So they might feel they have it nailed, but they don't. So it's not news to all of you. I'm sure you've seen these statistics. But what is interesting, and what we are here to talk about today, is why AI and machine learning are a good way to do this. This is, in my opinion, very, very understated. Gartner thinks that in 2018, which is really next year, 25% of security products will have some sort of machine learning. I actually think it's much, much higher than that. I think we are well past that number today, and by the end of next year, I think it will be several times that number. So it is really the new normal. It's happening today already. But if you're not already thinking about this, then I definitely encourage you to do that, and we'll show you some examples of where companies have done this and what we can provide to you. The other interesting thing is that it's starting to not just be used for detection, but also for actually taking action. So in some cases, doing pen tests through machine learning or at least smart architectures is also going to be commonplace. So it's also applying that in an outbound fashion. And you know what? It's also being done by the hackers community. They're also using the same tools and techniques. In fact, I would hazard a guess that they're actually using more of these technologies than the companies that are trying to defend are. So the so-called bad guys are definitely using it as well. And this is probably more accurate, and again, likely understated, that analytics derived from this will be in common use in a few years. And I think we're also almost at that point today. So these are all trends that are happening today. You've got a security landscape that's moving fast, constantly attacking, volume is tremendously high, and you've got a series of things that is being made available both in the form of technologies and platform capabilities, and then just applications that are being driven through some of these programs. And of course, the security market, if you're not familiar with it, it's growing tremendously. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity in the security market. So we look at, okay, it's not being done really well right now. There is an opportunity to apply new technologies like AI and ML. And so I really think that there's going to be an explosion in the use of AI, ML, and security in particular. But in general, it'll be applied to so many things, and security outcomes will be the result of that. So expect to see a lot more companies being born in this area of applying AI and ML. And if you really look at some evidence of that, there is a fairly sizable landscape of companies that claim to be doing this already. And I think that this is just one analyst's view of where things are. My suspicion is that every security company that we are working with, and I think that you are probably using, is applying it in some form or shape today. So this list is likely to be 10x in a few years. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about what we are doing to help partners take advantage of this opportunity. AWS is obviously very committed to building solutions that our customers want, and our partners are equal to that process. We are trying to do as much as is possible to encourage our partners to use our platform. And some of you may not be familiar with the capabilities we offer and the fact that we even have a strong AI program. So let's just start with who's using AI, ML on AWS today. These are customers, obviously. Some of them are partners. But for the most part, today, we have a very, very large group of customers that have deployed significant applications of very large scale on AWS that are built on top of AI and ML technologies. While these may not be the common frameworks you're familiar with, but they've applied those inside of their own algorithms, and they've built their own technologies, but essentially are using our platform to deliver results to customers. And you can recognize a lot of the names on this slide. So AWS is today a very, very strong platform for AI, probably the best, if not the most used already. And why is that? We offer, obviously, a set of AI-specific services in the form of Lex, Poly, and recognition that are very, very specific to certain use cases. But across the board, there's a tremendous amount of capability that we bring to bear in the form of specific solutions for AI, deep learning frameworks, but also sort of the more generic capabilities that we offer to everyone that are used for AI. Think of EC2 with now our new P3 cores we just announced back in October, and Pat will talk a little bit about that as well. And just a simple example of why what we do is so valuable to the companies deploying these solutions is just taking the amount of data that needs to be ingested for processing and looking for the patterns, applying behavioral models on that data. Just the amount of data that comes in, and we'll show some examples later, is something that you cannot do anywhere else. You simply don't have that kind of capability of ingesting large volumes of data and then bringing a tremendous amount of CPU resources to bear on that data. So this is something that is used by the companies that I showed you on this slide here. The other thing is that we've been doing this for a while. While it may not seem so obvious to you, but we've been doing this for over 20 years in our Amazon.com business. So all of the things you see when you go on Amazon.com, where they're recommending to you what other people have bought, what your history looks like, what might be relevant to you, is based on this. And we are able to bring that knowledge to bear, not just from the commerce side, but in our warehouses and things like the Echo. So there is a tremendous amount of information that is being developed and processed by our own algorithms. And so we are now able to bring that to you in the form of some of the services I mentioned earlier, like Lex and Poly and recognition, but also in the form of just having core capabilities and infrastructure that can process that kinds of data. So all of this is available to you to build on top of. And our goal is to really take this to everyone. We would like to have all of our partners and our customers have access to the technologies that are available. And so whether it's the form of services like Lex Poly recognition, the platform capabilities that we bring, even open source technologies, Spark and EMR, and then our own capabilities that we bring to bear. But we also have invested heavily in frameworks, the commonly used frameworks like MXNet, and then the new one we announced jointly with Microsoft called Gluon, that are available on the platform. So you have now a complete set of capabilities that you can build on top of, and then of course the underlying infrastructure with some of the CPU, GPU, and other capabilities that we are able to offer across the board. Specific to deep learning, again, as I mentioned, we have the P3 instances that are unique. Nobody else has this technology. We are able to bring this to our customers immediately. It was launched a month and a half ago. And it really is a substantial improvement over the previous technologies that were available. Deep learning armies that are available to install, and I've got a link to that later on. I'll show you that. And then just a lot more resources that we are able to provide to our partners and to our customers. So how do you take, I've talked about the problem, the customer opportunity, and the partner opportunity for building a business. I've talked about the platform and what we really bring to you in the form of an infrastructure platform. The next thing I want to talk about is how the AWS Partner Network can help you actually take that to market. It's a common question that I get asked a lot, which is, I've got all this great stuff, how do I get customers to start using it? So we offer a very large array of capabilities to our partners. We have the largest partner network. We've added, just this year alone, 10,000 new partners to the program. So we work very, very collaboratively with a lot of partners, and we believe that it's the best thing for our customers to have more partners helping us with their solutions. So clearly, in terms of the buckets of activity, development, giving you access to the technologies that we are building internally and making available regularly. And I think you'll find this week a number of new announcements specific to AI and deep learning, but also across the board in our infrastructure stack, which will help you sort of develop new solutions. And you can use these to get started and of course to grow as we add more services. It's very common for our partners to continue to add more services to their portfolio. But more importantly, I think what we really want to help you with is taking your solution to market. There's a lot of very, very good technology out there, and we believe that it benefits our customers together. And so we have programs around exposing your solutions to the customer community. So we have offered many, many options around marketing. We do joint campaigns with our partners where we call customers and talk to them together with our AWS sales team and yours to make sure that the customer knows that this is a tight relationship. We have what we call proof of concept funding. So if you want to launch a new service and you want to attract more customers to the platform, we can actually provide credits to help you reduce the cost or make it a no-cost operation even. So that's available. We have a lot of solution architects. Pat, who you will hear from next, is one of them. And we have a very large group of that across the world that can help our partners work with our customers in specific technology kind of conversations. And of course, we do this, we are supporting our partners at events by providing speakers. So to the extent that we can help you get in front of customers directly, we do that as well. And I was doing that just last week in Columbus, Ohio. Actually, the week before last week was Thanksgiving. And then finally, just, AWS Marketplace. I think this is a very important and unique differentiation, again, that we bring to bear with the background and history of selling online. We've taken that knowledge and I've applied it to software, which is very interesting. And I think I've been in the security space for over 10 years now, and almost everyone, all the partners I talk to say, oh, nobody's going to buy security solutions on AWS Marketplace. It's too complex. It's not something anybody buys online. You might be surprised to know that security is our #1 category of products in AWS Marketplace. It is the biggest category and the fastest growing one. it is real. People are spending money to buy security solutions, self-service completely on AWS Marketplace today. So I encourage you, if you haven't looked at it, as an opportunity for you to get your word out to the customer community that AWS Marketplace is a good way to do it. And it's getting better. They're adding more features. They're allowing you to pre-configure a fully working environment so the customer can deploy with one click. And then there's a host of announcements around just AWS Marketplace that you'll see this week as well, which is very interesting. And I think Dave was already talking about that in some of his sessions. The next thing I want to talk about is, again, an important area of differentiation for our partners is the Competency Program. So this is really a way to showcase our best partners, the ones who have invested in the platform, who've built solutions that are valuable to customers. So just so that you know what the process is, that we take our partners that have unique capabilities and have solved real customer problems. So it has to be something that multiple customers are willing to speak publicly about. So the solution that the partner brings is indeed something that is vetted by customers and by our technical team to make sure that it is adding value to customers. So the companies that make it through the program, and there's not that many, you can pick any one of them and the customer experience is going to be great. So we are very careful about who we take into the program, but I encourage you to look at that and consider it a way of differentiation for yourselves. And it has been very successful. We've had a very strong, if you look at the revenue opportunity that the partners that have competency, it's several times more than the ones that don't in terms of average deal sizes and closure rates. So as I mentioned, it is really looking at the programs, that the solutions that these partners bring, that they're differentiated, they're actually tested in customer environments, and because of that, the partners that have this get access to events. So for example, when we are out there talking about partners, we require that they are security competency certified. So it becomes a filter for automatically getting preferential treatment. And some of the programs are simply not available to the partners that don't have the security competency. So I would definitely encourage you to look at that. In the security space, you'll find a bunch of categories of partners. These are all partners that have been vetted by our team and around infrastructure security, access and control, logging, configuration and vulnerability analysis. And then in the consulting side is something we launched back in June. These are partners that have demonstrated with multiple large customers the ability to deploy security solutions. So it's not just about the technology partners, it's also about the consulting partners. So if you're a consulting partner in the audience, I would encourage you to look at the competency program list of ISVs to make sure that your partners are on that list. And if not, then you should look for the ones that are, because those are the ones that we believe have the best solutions that you can go deploy in customer environments. So it's not just for ISVs, it's also for consulting partners. And then sort of broader, what we can provide across the board is a variety of funding for different marketing programs, sales programs, and then supporting you in the field with specific activities around your sales processes. So we support partners at on-site events. We are doing a bunch of speaking engagements I mentioned earlier. And then we also work with analysts a lot, and so they often ask us about the partners that are the best ones that they should be talking to. And then, of course, again, we are able to provide the list of the competency program partners. And then we have a lot of different promotional activities that we can do jointly with us, where you get to leverage our blogs. We've done a lot of work around that. Some of the joint events we've done. There's a whole bunch of things that you get access to as part of the AWS Partner Network. We've done partner stories, webinars. The Quickstart Program is a very interesting one. This may be worth calling out. We've taken multiple security partners, or even not just multiple ISV partners, and pulled together a solution that can be deployed with one click. So we just launched something with Palo Alto Networks and Splunk recently that I would encourage you to look at as an example, and I think as two top partners of ours who are delivering great value to customers, and now it's even easier with the Quickstart. So that's just one example. The other one, which I think I want to call out, might be interesting to you in the audience, is we do work very closely with the internal service teams that are building new solutions. And so we invite partners to integrate with them early. So you will hear tonight in the security keynote that about new security services we are coming out with that some of our partners have integrated with. It's something that we pick the partners again. Competency is a key way to determine that, but also in general, what would be the best customer value that can be created with our services combined with the partner services. So we work with our service teams and the product organizations on the partner side to pull together an integration that is valuable. So you'll see some examples of that tonight and then through the week as well. And finally, obviously big events like what we have here, but we've also done events at the AWS Loft in San Francisco and also in New York. We had Security Week recently in New York. The Security Week in San Francisco is coming up. So that's another promotional opportunity that's available to our security partners. And really all our partners. It's not a security specific thing, but the Security Week obviously is a security specific event that I would encourage you to look at. And anytime we do launches, one of the things that we are very proud of is we like to talk about our partners and customers. You saw the customer slide I had with the AI and ML usage. For partners, we do the same. When we do a launch, you'll see all the integrated partners up on stage as well and profiled. So with that, what I'll do is turn it over to Pat to talk a little bit about some partners that have done some very interesting work with us.
Thanks, Rohit.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, quick reminder, I'm Pat McDowell, Security Solutions Architect here at AWS, and I help our security partners bring their products and services to AWS. Some of the two hardest problems in security, especially when you talk about security products, is the false negative problem, meaning, hey, I have like an intrusion detection system, but it didn't do its job. That's what most security partners fear the most. And right after that is too many false positives. Some people have referred to intrusion detection systems as false positive generators. And if you read anything in the news, a lot of large breaches occurred because they simply were drowned in alerts and logs, and like we call it in the industry, alert fatigue. So in the security industry itself, AI ML is solving both those problems, getting rid of alert fatigue and getting rid of that false negative problem when you start talking about advanced threats that can't be detected by your classic signature-based AV, because as Rohit was talking about before, the adversaries are using these advanced techniques to avoid detection as well. So you have to fight fire with fire, and really the security industry really showcases AI ML where it's being used the most. And when it comes down to it, AI ML is just a way to increase the efficiency of your product or your business, right? So the first partner I want to talk about is Trend Micro, and they've been one of our strongest partners for a very long time now. And they have an endpoint solution that's the Gartner Magic Quadrant leader in endpoint protection called Deep Security. And Deep Security, most people think about it as AV and malware protection. It does really cool stuff like IDS and IPS as well. However, if you're in the security market and they were hitting a problem of time, if you're in the security market and you have to wait many days to get your detections out there for a new threat, that's a huge problem. So by building on our platform, enabling their data scientists, they got that down to 4 hours. I talked to a lot of data scientists, and the number one problem that data scientists face, it's not about building those complex models and having the brute force hardware to do that. It's cleaning data, getting that data. So we do have the latest Volta NVIDIA GPUs. However, data scientists have to worry about the entire platform. How do I get my data in? How much can I ingest? How do I store petabytes of data? So it's not just about the horsepower, it's about the ecosystem around it. And because of that, Trend Micro went from analyzing 3 million 3 million virus definitions a day to 45 million. And that was something they were never able to do in their own data center. And when WannaCry broke out this summer, because of the AI, ML techniques they were using, their customers were protected. They had their models to detect this out there already because that time to reduce the data they were getting back to their researchers to beam that down to their platform to protect their customers. Crowdstrike is a very, very exciting security startup. They're one of the biggest names in the industry right now. If you don't, their CEO, George Kurtz, is speaking later today as well. George Kurtz, if you've been in security for a while, have ever seen the Hack and Expose books? They're about this thick. He wrote all those books. There's many series of them. He's the CEO. He's diving really deep into their platform later today in a session. What's amazing about CrowdStrike is because of the cloud, because of AI and ML, this product could not exist 10 years ago because of the scale they operate at. They ingest terabytes of data per day per customer from their Falcon endpoint host agent, and the entire analysis and AI ML crunching is done on our platform. So as you can see here, they're doing over 1 million events per second they're analyzing, and that is all stored in a petabyte Cassandra graph database to do the relationships between those. So CrowdStrike, at its heart, is an EDR platform, endpoint detection and response, as well as prevention, threat intelligence, and as well as other things. So they will actually scan your entire infrastructure, looking for those, the first problem I mentioned, the unknown bads. So their products focus around detecting the false negatives that plague the industry. So they have high confidence in assuring that they can detect from accumulating data across many indicators of compromise, so they can detect that thing. So one of the statistics that's really amazing about CrowdStrike, every 3 days they analyze more events than Twitter does an entire year. Right? So you can imagine how much data they're ingesting. Twitter's a ginormous platform. CrowdStrike is a startup security company, and they are analyzing more data in 3 days than Twitter does in a year. Next up is AlertLogic, who's, again, another strong security partner of ours. And AlertLogic is really focused on, yes, they have a great intrusion detection system, WAF, and things like that, but they also have a managed SOC. And because of the amount of alerts they had, again, they had to really empower humans. And I want to reiterate that, AI, ML is not an end-all, be-all solution. At the core of it, it's going to enhance humans. It's going to enhance your business abilities. It's not going to be Skynet and be all intelligent and fight your battles for you and save your company from hackers, right? It's going to make things better at a greater scale. However, when it comes to sophisticated attacks, those are really hard for humans to detect because they don't happen all at once. Let's say if you're traveling and someone wants to, rob your house, they're not going to do it all at once. If they're going to plan out, they might drive by a week before, they notice that you're not at work. They might come back a week later, they see that you don't lock your windows, right? And eventually they're going to have a plan, and then that's when they're going to execute. Well, with AlertLogic, they've analyzed 228 of those attacks, those multi-stage attacks. 64% of those were not identified by humans when they went back to their data. It was because their AI ML techniques they were able to detect that, because humans cannot go back a day, a week, a month in their memories and correlate those things because of the amount of log data they see. And they got very, very high accuracy, up to 98%, by harnessing AI ML techniques when humans were missing a lot of different ones of them. Last but not least, Splunk is a leading product in the security ecosystem. And everyone knows it for its log ingestion, but it has user behavior analytics, as well as Splunk Enterprise Security as well. And Splunk had great success at AFLAC. They were able to save 30 hours a month of human time, of security analyst time, which is a huge amount of time for a security analyst. And once again, that really echoes the point that AI and ML can help your products give time back to you, to your humans, to do focus on your business, grow your business, or make your business more efficient if you're on the product size. By using user behavior analytics, Splunk was, again, has, hey, maybe it's normal for Rohit to do this on a Tuesday, but not Tuesday at 2 p.m. It's odd he's doing it at 6 a.m., or it's odd he's doing it from this location. Or Rohit never accesses this data, or if they can look at your peer group. Rohit is, a solutions architect, but now he's accessing, data that's really reserved for software developers. So by understanding how you move away from your peer group, or how you move away from your normal behaviors, AI/ML can help detect things that maybe a human with the visible eye was not able to do. So what are some common things here? Again, AI/ML, it's going to enhance your business. In the security space, you have to enhance this with threat intelligence, because maybe it looks like normal behavior if it's coming from a known IP address, but if it's going to a known C2 server, command and control server, that's something that's going to give the data, gives the product the data it needs to make a more concise analysis. And the more you can empower humans and train the data, say you get an alert, it goes to the SOC at Alert Logic. An analyst gets on it within 15 minutes. They advise this, and they're going to be able to tell this is a good data point or a bad data point, and yes or no. Feed it back in the system, and then the system gets smarter. That is really right there the beauty of AI/ML. It gets better over time. The more you're able to train it, it gets better. So again, it's not replacing humans. It's enhancing their ability to do more at any time. But on the other hand, if you're not going to use it, the adversary is going to use it, right? If you're a product company or just enhance your business, they're going to do it. It can also be tricked. It's not a silver bullet. I like to call this the Bill Belichick problem. If you watch the Patriots play this year or last year, the NFL itself, obviously not a security company, all the coaches are using AI/ML techniques to understand when teams will go for it on 4th down, or when they're going to more likely to pass. There's lots of millions of dollars at stake there. So what Bill Belichick started doing, and in the 4th quarter, the Patriots might have been having a blowout, and he wants to taint that training data. If you can put in bad data and then fool the machines, they're not going to be able to protect what you're doing. So that's something that data scientists have to watch out for. So Bill Belichick's like Patriots up by 30 points in the 4th quarter, and then suddenly he's going for 2 when there's a minute left. It's like, why is he going for 2? Well, he wants to throw off the machine learning algorithms that understand his predictability when he actually does need to go that maybe in the playoffs. So data scientists have to need that contextual awareness besides just the training data to really understand and really empower AI and machine learning. So Rohit, you want to take some key takeaways here? Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. So the key takeaways, I think we've talked about the fact that the volume of data is growing, and it's just untenable for an analyst to keep up with it, resulting in alert fatigue, the fact that you simply stop responding to things over time, and that's when you get caught. Attacks are becoming too sophisticated to detect any other way. Machine learning and AI is just the new normal now. Everybody is deploying it, and if you're not, you should be. There is a tremendous amount of capability that we bring to the platform that you can learn from other people. We have a lot of resources, and I'll talk about that as well, that are available to you to deploy today. So you should be looking at that. We are today the platform of choice for companies that are building these solutions and deploying them in actual production environments today. And I showed you some examples of both customers, and Pat talked about some of the partners that are applying it today. We have a tremendous amount of resources that are available through the AWS Partner Network that we bring to our consulting and ISV partners for promoting the solutions that you build on our platform. And then finally, I would highly encourage you to look at the competency programs, specifically the security one, the one that Pat and I are in charge of, but also other competency programs, because they are going to help you differentiate and really prove to the customer that you are the experts in this area. So I'll leave it with the last slide that really just talks about what is available to you. I mentioned to you some of the credits that we have available to help you get started and help customers check out your programs, your capabilities that you're bringing to them. We've recently launched the ML Solutions Lab. You should definitely take a look at that to help developers get started. And so along with that, you get developer resources on the right side of that slide, starting with the top level alias, which is the Amazon AI, but you have deep learning AMIs available both on Amazon Linux and Ubuntu. We have cloud formation templates available. We've got examples, for example, the CloudTrail data being used, and there's some interesting things you'll see about that later in the week. We also have a lot of partners currently deploying it, and we have some case studies that I showed you earlier as well. And then finally, just a little bit on the reading. There's a very interesting book that I started reading a few months ago, and found this to be a very fascinating read, which is the Master Algorithm. I think it's one of the very good books on this topic. And then some of our partners have done some good work, and they have got public stories about that as well. So that's the prepared part of the presentation. If you have any questions, Pat and I are happy to take that. And I'll also encourage you to fill out the survey for the session so we can get your feedback and improve on this for next year. And then if you have any interest in writing about this, we encourage you to use the Twitter handle we have for partners. Thank you very much.